playing in the record, no, they don't call them records anymore. What do you call those things, Georgie? What do you call them little round things? CDs. I was in there, the little girl was buying a CD by this foul group that denigrates women. So I went up to her and I said, why are you buying that? And so she looked at me and she said, you got a problem, what's happening? And I said, look, do you know how he talks about you in that record, on that record? And she said, no, I don't listen to the words, I just like the music. So I said, look, this man talks about you like you're a living dog. I said, and now and that he calls you by the dog's name, bitch. I said, and you gonna pay money to take that home and participate in your own denigration? So she looked at me and she said, I don't listen to the words. I said, listen to them. I said, you listen to them, because what you're doing is contributing to your own destruction. Right? We know these people. You and I know who these people are, but we go support them with our dollars, go see them, give them money. The best way you can bring these entertainers down if you don't like them is don't spend your money with them. We worship consumerism. Oh my God, brothers and sisters, we worship consumerism and materialism, and as though selfishness is a virtue, just like Ayn Rand teaches. In fact, I have lived long enough to see a new Rand disciple who is black and female. Oh, God have mercy. The struggle for equality will not occur without a group effort, ladies and gentlemen. Individualism is not the way other groups advanced in this society. Wealth is accumulated by one, but passed on by the group, by the family, by the business, by the institution, by the organization. The Kennedy fortune, the Rockefeller empires, those were begun by one person but passed on and increased by the group effort. That's right. That is the nature of the company. That's right. The heart and engine of capitalism. The Millionaires Club, formed in the African American community largely by entertainers and athletes, passes on what and to whom. Except for a few of them, like Bill Cosby, it seems to be too little and too late. It is more important to us to buy a $40,000 car than to give $10,000 to Philander Smith College or Tougaloo. Right. We just don't get it, ladies and gentlemen. Black people just don't get it. Right. There are not enough people like Ruth Hare in Philadelphia who accumulated wealth which she invested to pay the college tuitions and fees for a group of sixth graders if and when they graduated from high school. One Benz would pay 4 years of college for somebody.
All right.
Okay. Raise your hand if you think Bill Clinton is going to be the father to our children. Raise your hand if you think the Democrats are going to take care of our elderly.
All right.
I know you don't think the Republicans are going to do anything for us.
All right.
If it is to happen, we have to do it. If not, ladies and gentlemen, we will not survive.
All right.
We will not survive.
All right.
You remember things fall apart? And the white man put a knife to our people and things fell apart. That will surely happen to us if we don't get it.
All right.
In her 1979 dissertation, Carolyn Elaine Bennett Murray wrote the following: when teachers made causal attributions about the importance of their own characteristics in determining a successful performance for a student, they tended to perceive themselves as more responsible for a successful outcome for students belonging to a subordinate group, blacks, lower class, those failing in school, than to a superordinate group. If the superordinate kids failed, it was the teacher's fault. But if the black kids failed, it was their fault. Okay? However, counter to prediction, teachers perceive themselves as more responsible for a successful performance by black middle class students than black lower class students. But not so with whites. White middle class students were responsible for their success, but black middle class children's success was due to their teacher. And a reverse pattern of responding resulted when black middle class and lower class students failed. Teachers preferred, ladies and gentlemen, to teach black lower class students over black middle class students. The major implication of Bennett Murray's findings is, to the extent that positive sentiments manifest themselves in rewards, a minority student will often be rewarded for failure and punished for success. Hence, the differential level of scholastic achievement observed among students of various socioeconomic and racial backgrounds may have less to do with tangibles, such as books, buildings, equipment, and so forth, than to do with intangibles, such as the differential expectations, the causal attributions, and sentiments expressed by the teacher for the student. Here we find that teachers tend to like, that is, express positive sentiment toward, students whose characteristics live up to their expectations. Hence, since smart African American students do not live up to the teacher's low expectations for African American students, they do not like them. So the African American student in schools is damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Now tell me, who wants to stay in school under these conditions? Yet, many African American teachers behave in the same way, disregarding their tradition of pride, honor, intelligence, and struggle. I do not know what has happened to us, ladies and gentlemen, over the 40 years that I've been in education. How did we arrive in this place? The white man has put the knife to what binds us together, and now things fall apart. After all of this history, struggle, the great men and women, Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Martin Delany, Sojourner Truth, W.E.B. Du Bois, Ida B. Wells Barnett, Booker T. Washington, Mary Church Terrell, Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, and Betty Shabazz, Leonard Jeffries, Shashi McIntyre, Donald Smith, and Alton Maddox. We still don't get it. Thank you.
Dr. Barbara Sizemore. Dr. Barbara Sizemore.